This is Capital City with Capital J.
And generic tune, take one. It's Capital City. I'm Capital J, alongside my main man,
D.L. Glass.
And this week we're just gonna jump right straight into it. We lost Takeoff, member of the Migos, to gun violence. So first we're gonna start with the rest in peace to Takeoff. I know a lot of people are going to be talking about, they're going to have their hot takes on the situation for the next however long. You know what I mean?
Right. Until it happens again.
Right.
This was the first.
Right.
November 1st.
Right, but that's not, our lane isn't, we don't have any information to give you. There's nothing we can tell you on this show that you don't know, or, I don't have any hot take for you other than, we have spoken before many times about the dangers of this profession. This is just another sad incident that unfortunately we've been having to get used to over the past few years. Not past few years, over the past...
It's been about, 10?
Longer 15? Than a few,
yeah. That's crazy.
And, this is, right. I don't even know what to say. But I will say that if I had one thing to discuss without just being cliche and just talking about what happened and why were they there and what's going on at 2:30 in the morning and how is Jay Prince Jr. involved, I don't know. But what I do know is there's something to be said about how fast people will post images of dead people within 24 hours of an incident happening. The parents haven't even settled in to process this information yet, and social media is already showing you what happened in videos and pictures and audio and you got YouTube detectives breaking down what, who was involved and who did it. Right. You know what I'm saying? You got cats from all the way on the other side of the country have already made videos. And, social media is out of control right now on this thing, man. So, if we want to tackle this thing, I'm coming from, I want to hit up how disrespectful it is.
Right.
On social media right now. And this isn't the only incident, man. It's not just Takeoff.
It's like it's a part of our culture now.
It's insane, man. Same thing with XXXTentacion.
Right.
Why are there pictures? I heard there were PNB Rock pictures out there. Why?
It's crazy.
You
got to be first. I got to get these lights off.
Man, it's insane.
No respect for the family.
No respect for the family. And that's the first thing you got to understand out here is that it's not even just about the people in the videos. You got to think about their families during this time. They're going through some of the hardest things this is the toughest thing that has ever happened to them.
Right.
I promise. Mm-hmm. And you could get a few likes off a video, but you're taking somebody in their worst moment and making it harder for them.
Right.
You're making it worse. Like somebody already did something horrible. And then here you come. So I just want you to understand before you hold your camera up and record, even if you record it and don't do anything with it, that's a whole different story. We could address voyeurism on a whole different podcast. But right now, we're talking about just the audacity.
Like where you get off.
Yeah, why?
How some in the last moments, but that's what we do when something about to pop off.
Pull out the camera.
You want to capture it.
I mean, but even if you captured it, to then turn around and say, you know what?
Sell it to TMZ.
The world needs to see this.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
That's my moment to shine. That 1,500 look good. Or more.
But like I said, this is, meanwhile, you have put something out there that's going to be hurtful forever.
Like, how do they move past the death? And I'm not saying, people shouldn't grieve and mourn, but, some people want to move past it so they can get over the hurt.
Yeah, and if something becomes a recurring, and people are so cruel, man, like, people are so cruel nowadays. They take stuff like this and use it against you in an argument. Another weak moment, 2-3 years from now, somebody will pull this out. And, it's just ridiculous.
Right.
You can only imagine, like, do you think way back in the day when JFK got shot on TV, think about how many times you've seen that in your life.
A few, because his brains was blown all over the trunk of the car.
Right. You can't forget that. When you think about JFK, that's, you forever think about that moment.
Right.
Now.
But you don't automatically think about that moment when you think about the president of the United States. But when you think of a rapper, that's what you think about.
Yeah. I mean, there have been more rappers have gotten shot than presidents.
Absolutely.
But the problem with having that imagery out there is that JFK Jr., he was a little toddler when that happened. Mm-hmm. And had they not recorded it, he probably never would have seen it.
He wouldn't.
But his memories of his father would have been him walking around, yada, yada, yada. Mm-hmm. But I bet you at some point in his life, he's seen that film.
Absolutely. Everybody talks about it.
Right. And it's so prevalent. And that's the fear, is that by doing this, you take an incident, like I said, a horrible moment, the worst moment in people's lives, and you turn it into something that people who missed it now will be able to replace some of their more fond memories with this horrible incident, because it's here and it's never going. Once it's out in the universe of the internet,
right,
it's never erased. Really,
right.
You can take it down.
Right.
How many people already have it now? you see what I'm saying?
Okay, devil's advocate.
Mm-hmm.
It's what you signed up for.
Being in the game?
No, not just being in the game, being a celebrity. From the beginning to the end. I'm talking about your career.
Right.
If they stop paying attention, if Takeoff wasn't who he was, do you think people would have been videoing him dying?
No. Whoever was holding that would have been long gone. Whoever's standing there holding the camera thought that in this moment of danger, it's more important.
Yeah.
Now, for real.
Right.
Somebody just got killed in a hell of gunfire.
One video, they said the guy was holding the gun. It's people arguing.
Right, and he's sitting there and film. Somebody's holding a gun, and there's a guy standing there. I saw that video, and there's a dude standing behind him. Like, ooh, it's getting to pop off, and I'm going to get it. Like, really? Like, literally, there's a dude. As soon as I see a dude standing with a gun and dude's talking loud, he should have already been gone.
At that moment,
this dude is like a war correspondent at Vietnam. Even the dudes be out there with the camera in the middle of the war.
The moment was worth more than your life.
To him, it was.
The person filming.
Yeah, to that person.
Forget the person that was standing there, because he could have been with him.
Yeah, to that dude with the camera.
The girl with the camera.
Or whoever that was. Right. Instead of recognizing this obvious danger that's going on. They're going to stand here.
Because you want that moment.
And there's somebody who that's somebody who was fortunate enough to see this before anybody else saw it, because he got the gun behind his back. The dudes that are about to, everybody that's about to get shot, doesn't know this dude has his gun out.
Or they probably would have left.
The one person that does know the dude got a gun is standing back there filming like a damn fool.
But wait, no, the person standing behind, no, that wasn't the only person who knew he had a gun. The person who was standing near him that you said had the look on his face, and it was somebody else.
So yeah, and then there's somebody on the other side of it filming too. So you got all these people with cameras, and you know what? They're so busy. Whoever filmed that probably didn't even see the gun until later. You know, so
Absolutely.
busy trying to catch the moment and you not paying attention to what's really going on.
They saw the gun; it was flashing.
Right.
So you can't tell me that person,
because when it flashed, they didn't stand there and film everything that happened after that.
Absolutely. Wow. That's where
we are now in society.
That's where we are now.
That's where we are.
But I can't say that's where we are because, well, I can because there's other cultures and stuff that shit happens to, but it's just that it's more frequent of our rappers that it's happening to.
It's weird for, you know, a genre of people, you know, like what other genre of entertainment, like, you know how much I compare athletes and rappers.
Yes.
You know, they like to do the same stuff.
Right. So,
you know,
they don't die though.
Right. But if you think about the circles that they run in, the two worlds collide a lot. Athletics and entertainment. They're at their peak of their game around the same age. They make lots of money around the same age. A lot of young black men with money. Well, who else has money like this at this age?
Right.
Athletes and entertainers. So of course they're gonna run in the same circles from time to time.
Absolutely.
And the athletes, well, I don't know. Brian Robinson got shot. He was running back for the Redskins.
Yeah, it's
and you know,
it's
so
not like every year.
Yeah, but it's not all the time. And then was it Sean Taylor? What's up with the Redskins? He played for the Redskins too.
Hey, that name is offensive. They are the Washington Commanders.
Okay, I'm sorry. I apologize.
It sounds like some fucking superheroes. Like the Avengers.
But I'm just saying, so what is it about rappers that attract this attention?
Okay. So I have an interesting perspective on this. I think sometimes you have to look at what you align yourself with. And I was always taught the words that come out of your mouth are powerful. And like, I'm not going to say about anybody in particular, you know, but you do a lot of stick talk. You do a lot of big boy talk. So me, if I think of you because of what you put out there, I think of you know how to move around. You know what I mean? And it's certain things, and like, bro, I'm a civilian. I'm a proud civilian. Right. You know? There are certain places that I know I don't go. You know what I mean?
Right.
And you know, one place that I know, even when running around doing, you know, quote unquote street stuff, there's still certain places that you know how to act accordingly. And civilian dice game, the fuck? I go to Vegas. I go to Atlantic City.
Right.
Those are the dice games I'm at. Street, I know a dice game, anything will pop off. You better be strapped. You better be straight. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well.
Like,
millionaire. Well, hey.
Multi-millionaire.
This is that hard conversation that you don't want to have this close to an incident because, you know, we don't want to appear to be blaming the victim for anything.
We've always talked about it,
yeah,
though, Jay.
but we have, we talked about
everything,
all of this stuff,
Yes.
plenty of times on the show, and like I said, it's just unfortunate because the reason I say it's most unfortunate in this case really is because from everything I've seen in the video, I haven't even seen Takeoff say a word in any of these videos. You know what I'm saying? And, so no matter what kind of records he made in this particular incident,
Everybody
it
talks about
almost seems as if he had nothing to do with this.
that's his uncle.
Right. And I'm not, and I'm not trying to blame anybody.
No, we can't.
But I'm just saying, that's in a moment like, man, golly. That's
right.
I try to, and that's the hard part about participating in hip hop is that occasionally things like this happen. And if you're not
gonna sugarcoat this and say occasionally stuff this happens.
I'm just saying, and I hate to use hip hop as I'm gonna say in rap because really when you this is a moment where I have to separate hip hop from rap. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
This don't happen in hip hop.
Right.
To hip hoppers. Yeah, to if you just sit back and think about people that are a hip hop purist. Who would a hip hop purist refer to as a rapper or an MC? This is stuff that happens in the rap world.
Perfect example, and I'm gonna give it right back to you. Dreamville, and I'll say this real quick. First night, 2022, Saturday night, Lil Baby closed out. Sunday night, J. Cole closed out. 2 totally different days. Now I'll let you get back to your point.
Oh, so you were there? Yeah, you almost got to expand on that
because, okay, so Saturday, the hood was there,
right?
Right.
The
people I was with was, we was, on point,
right?
That was the energy. Sunday when J. Cole,
the energy felt different.
Yes.
Right. Gotcha. I see what you're saying.
Sunday when J. Cole performed, oh God, I maybe thought I was at Woodstock or something.
Right. So
you know what I mean?
So and that's those are
the difference. It's a difference in two of what you said,
and that's why J. Cole's not getting shot at.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And it's we've been through that thing where an artist should be able to say what he wants to say, and you shouldn't have to worry about these things happening. But in reality, the path you choose will come with its own set of inherent risks, depending on where you go.
Right.
With your words.
Right. Because I just used the example of J. Cole Dreamville, and some rappers put out that, choppers and AKs and all this other stuff. And 9 times, I'll say 8 times out of 10, those are the ones who are actually getting murdered out here, getting shot up and shit, robbed and killed. But you take an artist like J. Cole where you don't hear about those incidents happening to him, but then you get the citizens of Gary to call in the police that brings in the SWAT team and spend $2 million to run up in his crib.
Right. That's because they don't know the difference.
Right.
And the artists, they just think that we're all one thing.
But that's why it's the most dangerous profession.
Right, because even when you're not inviting that type of energy,
Right.
just being a part of the genre
Right.
gets it from now you got to deal with the police and the neighbors.
Right. And
He,
see,
he could have very well gotten killed. You know how easy it is
Right.
to get killed when the police are involved.
absolutely. And see that's the problem. And that's what I have not heard anybody say is that it's not just the most dangerous profession because somebody who looks like you will kill you. There are so many other people and
Involved in hip hop.
and like the sad part about it is if you're a minority in this industry or that industry, then you already as a minority have all of these things pointed at you that can end your life or your career. Now you're here. This is added to what's there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, like I said, it's always a tough conversation because these conversations come up right after the incident.
Right.
And the last thing anybody wants to be doing is like say you don't want to be the guy saying, well, you don't talk about that stuff, then it won't happen to you. Cause you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but that's not
comes
what
off. I know,
Right.
but that's why these conversations don't get had.
Right.
Because
When is the right time?
when is the right time?
Right.
And it's the fact of the matter, man, it's never the right time.
Because you
But
can't talk about when it's going good because then you're a hater.
right. So it's never the right time.
Right.
But hopefully, people just wake up eventually. It takes time for people to change. Like we didn't hip hop didn't turn like this overnight. Rap didn't turn like this overnight, and it's not gonna flip a switch and go back overnight. But I do think that I think this will be a wake up call to a lot of people in the industry in general. I think you'll see artists move a little bit differently, and I will say that there was probably a level of comfort. Like a lot of people looking at this, I hate to even get into it like this because I don't know a whole lot, But a lot of people will say, well, why are they there out like this? But, by all accounts, they were with Jay Prince Jr. And there's a certain level of security you feel when you're with that big of a name in their town. So, before before people say, well, I wouldn't be out, maybe you would too if you're with Jay Prince Jr. You may feel like it's a little bit safer for you than the average person out here because of the company you're keeping.
Hell no. You know why I say that? Because go holler at Trey the Truth. He don't invite that energy around him.
Right.
You know what I mean? Stuff happens, but nothing like this.
Yeah.
This energy that you're inviting in, like, bruh, like, let's keep it our way. A band, they are multi-millionaires. Why are you still running around with quote unquote the starving artist? Or in that environment, do you understand your gift?
Right. Now that's a great point you just made. Do you understand, that's a powerful question. Do you understand your worth? Do you understand your gift? And a lot of people need to take a look in the mirror now. That's very profound, DL. Hey, everybody look in the mirror right now. Do you understand your worth and do you understand your gift?
Right.
I mean, I want you to think about if you had a 4-year-old child, would you take him some places? I think these are things to think about when I ask you, do you understand your worth or your gift? Do you value how much do you value your own existence? And I asked that question like, as a parent, I realized that there were places I wouldn't take my kids, but that I would go. Then eventually I stopped going to those places that I wouldn't take my kids to.
Right.
Because if it's dangerous for my kids, it's dangerous for me.
If it's dangerous for you, it's dangerous.
And I realized that maybe I didn't value myself as much as I thought I did because of how much I value my child. There are risks that I would take for myself that I would not put my child in the same danger. So then I thought to myself, well, maybe I didn't value myself in the highest possible way because I know how I value my kids and I know what I would feed them. And I know that there are things that I eat that I wouldn't let them eat when they were,
Remember when we had this show about street credibility?
Right.
We asked the question, is it worth it?
And at the time I said yes, because that would be the only way
Quavo,
to be taken seriously. But now I'm pretty sure a lot of people would say no.
But they said yes. Quavo and Takeoff said yes. Street credibility is worth it.
Right. The other thing too about this content, with content going so much stick talk, as you say, is, I forgot what I was going to say right there. I looked right at you and you said, and I don't know where. That's the power of the editing magic, though.
Stick talk, man.
The problem is it's become, rather than what people are really doing, they're just using that as just part of the vocab.
Yes.
It's
yes.
And I don't think they realize, like you said, there's power in the word, in the words.
Right.
But people are using these words and this imagery so loosely that there's hardly any power in it anymore.
Right.
Because
everybody
just says it. Right. Draco. Right. I got the Draco. Yeah. I got the Draco. 30 songs called Draco.
So
and so now it's almost like people forgot that y'all rapping about guns. It's not you're not my homies. You rapping about these.
Listen. That's why, when Kendrick Lamar first came out,
and the same thing with drugs. They kick out drug references the same way, just so loosely. They forgot all about it. You're telling kids that it's okay to drink and get high all day on narcotics.
When Kendrick Lamar first came out, I was not feeling him.
You ain't like Kendrick at first?
Nah, I ain't rock with him.
I like Kendrick.
I ain't see nothing.
I was a day one. When that video, he was riding a bicycle, that was the first time I saw him riding that bicycle. I was like, yeah, that kid's going to be dope.
Right. So, and at the same time, J. Cole couldn't get, quote unquote, a radio hit. And you know what? I credit both of them, not saying that they in the same lane. They're in different lanes, in my opinion. But I credit both of them to using the language, the lingo, the subject matter in a different form.
Yeah, it's not so much glorification.
Right. And
it's still there.
So
it's still in there.
The first person I saw do this was Lupe Fiasco when he had the track Superstar, and he invited Jim Jones or the label put Jim Jones on this remix and somebody else, I can't remember who else. But the track was not Jim Jones.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like the Superstar, like from what I got from the track, and leave it in the comments if I'm wrong about this. But what I got from the track, if you're a superstar, you need to realize your power because you affect people. Superstar, they have no fear. You know what I'm saying? That's what I got from the track. But adding Jim Jones to it, I don't think he knew that some of the lingo and language that Lupe was spitting in the original track was totally against the rapper that he was at that moment.
Oh, right.
And nobody else did a feature. Nobody of the streets like that did a feature with Lupe after that. And I think that's why, because they were like, bro, you didn't know what kind of track you was on.
Right.
You know, some of the artists can do that, and then a lot of them have to go with what they are told sells. And that's where I have a problem with it. Because, bro, like, I know, you know, how the universe works. I might come back and tell you next week I shouldn't have said what I'm about to say. But on some levels, you have to have your own accountability, and your moral compass should be pointing you in another direction if it's truly in you. Like, I saw a news story about Quavo's death, and in the news story, Takeoff's death, and in the news story, they used the track Bad and Bougie.
Mm-hmm.
Bad and Bougie.
Cooking no dope with the Uzi.
That's what they used in the quiet spaces when they're talking about his death. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, bro, like, I don't gotta sit here and say that this happened to you because you glorified this. I'm gonna implant pieces of it while I'm telling the story, and you draw your own inference. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, nobody had a problem when certain people make certain music. Biggie, what was the name of his first album?
Ready to Die.
What was the name of Tupac's last album?
Machiavelli? Oh,
No. Around his death. The last one that he actually recorded himself as an album. All Eyes on Me.
Uh-huh.
What happened when he died?
All eyes on him.
For how long now?
Forever.
30-something years. We still, bro. Man, I don't know. I don't know. It's crazy. It's crazy that this right here that is a part of our culture is being overshadowed by a section or a sector of it. And it's in part because we don't control it.
Excuse me.
We don't control it. They tell us, and who like I don't understand, like, on some levels, about what they said about the industry. I don't know what was so wrong about what Kanye and Nick Cannon said about the industry.
What did they say?
The Jews control it.
It's not just Jewish people.
Well, they
you know
they
what
don't
I'm
shy.
saying?
Well, as far as I know, they don't shy away from their hold on the entertainment. And I'm not just talking about this. I'm talking about the entertainment industry in general. Like that.
Well, the thing is, like, this, it's one of them things that even if it's true, when you say stuff like that, you are kind of aligning yourself with people who think and have biases against Jewish people. So the thing is, even if it's true that there's a Jewish person that owns every entertainment company, when you say it, you sound like you hate Jewish people. Like, are you mad?
Jay.
But I'm saying that's what the problem is.
I think that's,
with when you say stuff like that, because the only other people who say stuff like that are those Nazi following.
I'm glad you said that, because
the Jews ran everything. So
it is different when people of power say it. A black person saying this is not a person of power. We might have influence, but we don't have power.
But what I'm saying is, just be careful not to fall into that.
Oh,
that
no,
trick.
no.
I'm talking about anybody like when people. I don't know. You got to remember, man. Like, there's a whole side story, but you know, like during the whole civil rights movement, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. If you get Jewish people or white people, they got discriminated against. They have listen, and when they start barking up the right trees, things move differently than when we start barking up them trees. So we're trying to get our civil rights, and we had some allies, and you know,
we should learn.
And they were them. Jewish people.
We should learn from them, and because they know how to navigate this white man system. That's
but there are also outsiders. But like I said, when people say stuff like that, it makes it sound like you got a beef with Jewish people, and you know, Jay, that for black people to be beefing with Jewish people,
that's not what the intent is.
No, I'm saying that's what it sounds like
to them,
and it even sounds like
they're not looking at the source. You know what I'm saying?
But, you know, when Kanye says it, you know damn well he's got bias against Jewish people, because he told you he got bias against Jewish people. Kanye West is a Nazi.
He's a poor communicator.
No,
he has a bias against Jewish people because he's mad at black people that we aren't at the level of Jewish people.
Are you seriously so you defending Kanye West?
No. I'm giving my opinion on what they
do you really think Kanye is thinking that deep, or you think he just hate Jewish people?
I don't think he,
you know what I'm saying?
I don't think he hate Jewish people.
He about to go DEATH Con 3 on Jewish people. He don't hate them though.
See, that's the part that I said he's a poor communicator. I don't even think he knew what the fuck he was saying when he was saying that shit, bro. You don't have power. How can you? But comparing Kanye West to that. Kanye West's ideology to the ideology of Hitler is unfair.
That is exactly right. He is a Hitler, and he told you he admires Hitler
because
he told you what. Listen, man, do not let. Sometimes, man, like you know what my brother always tell me. I be trying to take him down rabbit holes, and he's like, "Look, man, look. The most obvious answer is the simplest. In 99% of the cases, man, this dude told you he loves Hitler." I mean, like first of all, let's start there.
You heard him say that, bro. I ain't hear him
man,
say that,
they just been I've been reading articles all week about how they had to talk this dude out of the name of the Ye album, Hitler. Like literally, because and he went on TMZ, and the dude who was on TMZ was just on TV talking about how he couldn't stop talking about how great Hitler was. Don't nobody want to hear that bullshit. But first of all, when somebody is telling you they admire Hitler, and then they talking about, you know, going not DEFCON, which is a defense condition, he's talking about going DEATH Con 3 on some Jews. It's nothing to think about, really. He told you what it is. I love Hitler, and I don't like Jewish people. He done said it. He has said it out loud, and so there's nothing to like. You can't.
I cannot defend.
You can't scramble nothing up in this big old omelet of conspiracies other than what he told you. He told you what it is.
Right.
He followed somebody that killed 40 million Jewish people, however million Jewish people he killed. I don't know if it was, however many millions of Jews he killed.
Right.
This dude admires that guy. There is no question about how he feels about Jewish people. Black people, stop it. Kanye West has lost his mind.
I can't agree with that totally. I just don't agree with some of his ideology. But I'm not gonna put it on him that he's lost his mind because.
Oh man, he's absolutely lost his mind, man.
Man, you don't think they told what's his name, Alexander Graham Bell, that he lost his mind when he said he wanted to talk to some motherfucker that ain't even here?
No, because he invented a telephone.
Yeah, but in the beginning,
on the other
he
hand,
just invent no
you know what I'm saying?
Overnight.
Yeah. But he didn't walk up in Rockefeller's office demanding a daggone deal for this telephone he ain't made yet. You know what I'm saying?
Why not? You know what I'm saying? Like I tell my girl, I say, yo, how you gonna get the money in your ass for? She was like, I can't believe you just said that.
Hey, listen, man, all this stuff, man. Look, black people.
Yeah, I'm not aligning myself with Kanye West in no means.
I'm just saying, in general, man, they trying to, here's the deal. White supremacists, they don't like us or the Jews. The last time their master plan was at work, we got out of it together, us and the Jews.
Thank you.
And so guess what? All this fake ideology is being fed to you on Facebook and Instagram, and these fake Hitler quotes and all of this stuff is being sent to you by white supremacists designed to keep black people and Jewish people from allying again. Because what do you have to gain from starting some stuff with Jewish people? And they act like Jewish people have been holding us down. What?
Well, I'm just talking about what's put out there to the masses right now as a representation of my people. That's what I'm talking. And they are the ones who own the companies who are putting that out. It's just as many artists who are making conscious or positive or not stick music that's putting out music, but you don't hear that on the radio every 20 minutes. You hear the stuff that demises our community on the radio every 20 minutes. It's like they brainwash
you. And you remember we had this conversation about when we controlled our music, it was one way.
Absolutely.
And now I don't think I think there's a false conception that all corporate is Jewish. It's not.
Okay. No, I'm not.
You see what I'm saying?
Much credit. Right.
So, that's not a Jewish thing. That's a capitalist thing.
Mm-hmm. But what I'm talking about is the moral part of it.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm getting around to. This is, you can blame record labels, but we also talked about in the podcast that we have a 50-50 stake in this. Mm-hmm.
There's accountability that starts.
There is some accountability, and there's some accountability on both ends here.
Right.
Nobody's off the hook in this.
No, heck no.
You know what I'm saying? Not one DJ, not one programmer.
Right.
Not one promoter.
Right.
Not one concert goer, not one consumer, not one record label, not one executive.
Me included.
Everybody who's ever purchased a ticket to a show that was filthy. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And then right on down to us as parents. What do? You cut the radio on, the radio is playing clean, but how clean is it?
Right.
You sit there and listen to it in front of your kids. You see what I'm saying? I do it, you do it, we all do it.
Right.
Take the curse words out, they still tell them to do the same shit.
Yes. Right.
So there's accountability across the board because, we talked about this. There was a time when record labels would not touch this filthy music. Mm-hmm. They wanted nothing to do with it. And what did we do?
You shouldn't have made me watch. Well,
I'm just saying, what did we do? What did we do as consumers?
We shouldn't have watched Wild
I'm just saying, what did we do as consumers when record labels would not allow you to say all that filth? And you remember when the Two Live Crew, when Two Live Crew couldn't get, nobody want anything to do with the Two Live Crew. They got arrested because the concerts were so outlandish. Like society turned their nose up at this stuff and didn't want anything to do with it. The record labels did not want anybody that was spewing anything remotely this violent and vile. And I have to say that we actually demanded it.
Yes, freedom of speech.
You know what I'm saying? We said, hey, and yes, and once and yeah, artists should be free to say what they want to say. And
Because
but
they won't mess with nobody else.
but like I said, there's consequences to them words.
Yes.
And we wanted NWA more than we wanted the Fresh Prince and Run DMC at that time as a consumer. And when NWA sells more than the greatest selling hip hop artist group of all time, then they're thinking this is the new thing.
Listen,
Now,
I hear what you're saying. But if NWA didn't have the machine behind them, would it have had the same impact?
I don't know.
If any of this didn't have the machine behind it, and let's not forget now, you said people demanded NWA more than Will Smith. No, because NWA didn't win a Grammy back then. Fresh Prince did.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying?
But that's and those people giving out those Grammy, those are those people that are perceived to be those very same Jews that control everything. So they recognized the greatness of Will Smith. It wasn't black people that chose the Grammys.
Of course not.
It was those same people in power.
Right.
In hip hop's early days, they said this is
a good representation.
right. It wasn't them that didn't choose Jazzy Jeff first. They chose Jazzy Jeff. We chose NWA.
And Jazzy Jeff could have been chosen because of who was presenting it. Because
you got to think too, man. He's the DJ on the Rapper was a great album, and it deserved a Grammy. Like,
man, they ain't listen to that shit.
I'm sure that somebody had to. like I don't remember what it was up against, but it was
probably nothing because the category was so new.
Let me see. You know what? This thing has gone all in a different direction, but I'm cool.
Oh, yeah.
This is good because I want to know who else. Let me see. First rap Grammy nominees. I'm just curious.
It is a good one to find out.
JJ Fad, Kumo D, LL Cool J, Salt and Pepper.
And they chose Fresh Prince.
Hold on, let me see. The first, other than, it says, besides Jeff and Will, the other first rap Grammy nominees. It was JJ Fad for Supersonic, Kumo D for Wild Wild West. Yeah, and see, all these songs are garbage. Like,
The Wild Wild West.
Supersonic, Going Back to Cali and Push It. And I'm not saying
Going
that.
back to Cali was garbage.
Hey, man.
What?
I'm not.
It was different.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to say garbage when I say these songs, but I'm just talking about in 1988 or whenever these joints dropped.
Right.
Like, there was some much harder hip hop jumping off. Like, this was cool. This was all commercial hip hop.
Absolutely.
As commercial as it got at that moment was Supersonic, Wild Wild West, Going Back to Cali and Push It. You know what I'm saying? But I just remember Going Back to Cali being a huge disappointment. If you knew the real LL Cool J, you had been listening to off the first two albums, I'm Bad and Radio, and then you hear Going Back to Cali. I was like, man, what is going on? You know what I'm saying?
He had to get that bread.
Bikini Small.
Yeah.
I was like, yo, what is happening to my man?
That's the first time he had on a Speedo, right?
I don't know what was going on in that video, man. I couldn't even hardly watch it. I was like, oh, I'm going back to Cali. And the thing is, it was a great artistic departure from what he did, so I can't say it wasn't terrible, but it was like, it's just like, it wasn't the LL that I wanted. And the same thing with Push It, that ain't the Salt and Pepper I wanted.
Right.
And Kumo D, that ain't the Kumo D I want. And that ain't the JJ Fad that I love the best. You know, all of them had much tougher stuff, but I knew that stuff would never be nominated for a Grammy either, though. You know what I mean? But all I'm saying is, in the beginning, the you know, like the same people that say they were trying to that all they sell to us is filth. They didn't want to sell us filth in the beginning. We're like, yo, how come we can't get no filth? You know what I'm saying? All the filthy people are like, yo, it's messed up that you won't put out our filth. Well, we over here making filth.
Was it the record?
And all y'all want to do is get rappers like Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince.
Well, is it the record labels or at the time was it politics? Because let's not forget now, they went to the Supreme Court. That's outside of just
the Supreme
business.
Court, that was the
so the
Two
record
Live
label
crew.
could put it
Two
out.
Live crew won their case.
Yes.
And you know.
And who were they signed to?
Oh, now that's a black man.
Still though, it's still a record label, it's still a machine.
Luke Records, Luke Skywalker Records or whatever it was. Mm-hmm. He was a one-man show. He didn't have distribution.
So
and all
Luke
that
fucked
stuff.
this up.
Hey, all I'm saying is, you know, we keep right on. It's kind of like the over policing that goes on. Like there was a time when drugs and gang activity was under police, and we kind of demanded that they do a little bit more, and then the more was too much. And that's what happened with this music. It's like there was a time when it's like, yo, you're not including, like that was the thing. It was just that the filthy side wanted to be included in this gold rush that was going on in the world of hip hop. And the guys who were gangster weren't getting their due and their fair share. So they're like, yo, you put us on too. So when they got put on, they overtook everything else. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
As they supposed to.
And now it's just like policing. You wonder a little bit, but now it's too much. And same thing with gangster music. It's like, yo, we need a little gangster rap in here too. It can't just be all Will Smith and Jazzy Jeff all the time. So we got it, but now it's too much. Just like policing. You know, you like, yo, I don't want people selling crack right in front of my house, but I also don't want you riding through here harassing my son who's on the way to the store either. You see what I'm saying? And it was the same thing. We want it balanced. Like, yo, Luke should have a place in this because he's a legitimate hip-hop artist also, but we don't want every song to be Luke. You know, like now every song, man, like, man, there hasn't been any class. You know what I'm talking about when I say class. There hasn't been any class
out of hip-hop
on the radio in years. Like, and I'm talking about there's no class in this at all. Like women doing hip hop right now, who got class? Like I ain't trying to be funny, nothing. Like I'm not even trying to throw people under the bus. You either got class or you don't. Who's on the radio with class? The last person that had class was Lauryn Hill.
That was on the radio.
The last female.
Like Rhapsody.
Yeah, Rhapsody, she's got class.
She ain't on the radio.
But she's not on the radio.
Absolutely.
Who has class? Like, what dude even has class?
Damn.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a thing of the past.
Right.
So everything's raunchy.
Right. That's what's selling.
And the thing is, so like I said, as much as you want to point, you know, we all want to point the finger at somebody, but we don't want to look in the mirror and talk about how much we demanded classless music. Like, you know, I try to play music with class for a long time, and the longer I go, you know, the longer time goes, classy songs just don't work because they're not raunchy enough in today's society.
But Jay, I gotta look at it on both sides because now I'm not discounting what you're saying about playing the classless music, but you gotta look at it from a broader perspective. Like I was talking about, I think we talked about off mic earlier. Like when you look at the culture, it's encompass the industry. You know what I mean? And not just the music that you hear on the radio, but it's so many other things that are attached to the culture that makes stuff okay.
Right.
You know what I mean? So for us to sit here and say that there's no classes, like class isn't being taught to most of our kids that's trying to make it out and get this kind of exposure and stuff like that. You know what I mean? The kids that and you know, I don't know the numbers of kids who come from the perfect household and
well, you don't even need a perfect household. All you need is somebody around you with some class. And class don't come with money. Money does not make Donald Trump is rich. He don't have class.
He don't have class at all.
You know what I'm saying? Like, class is not money. You can't buy it. You can't marry it. You either have it or you don't.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Right. And somebody with no class can't teach you to have class.
But I just think that, you know what I'm saying, it's harder to fight the machine as a person. You know what I'm saying? Like I say, I'm not, you know what I'm saying? I understand what you're saying. But at the same time, when you got all these other factors going into telling you what's okay and stuff like that, you know, because a lot of people, if they don't look for music to tell them how to live
it's all
their
rebellion,
life.
you know, like the whole, you know, hip hop's at its core is rebellious. You know what I mean? Like, you go back to the early days, the venues we started off in, we shared them with punk rockers.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
The other rebellious arm of this industry. You see what I mean? And hip hop is rebellious. It's anti whatever you say do.
Right.
And so, you know, and to the effect of even today with all the guns and drugs, it's anti what society has told you. Society said you're supposed to not do this.
Right.
Well, guess what? I'm rebellious. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of been the appeal. It's always been the appeal to young people. It's what rock and roll was. It was rebellious. Yeah. You know, we're going to party all night, you know, and the idea of partying all night was rebellious because people told you not to do that. You don't stay up all night. Nothing out open at night but legs.
Right.
You know what I mean? So we seeing rebellion all over again, but it's you know, the rebellion goes a little bit farther every few years. You know, in the early days, the rebellion was, you know, like they would talk about, like, think about the rebellious things in hip hop early days. They talked about cutting the music up really loud and disturbing the neighbors. You know, you heard a lot of songs about, you know, music so loud. Yeah, turn the music up. That's rebellious. You see what I'm saying? That was the rebellious. But then that wasn't rebellious enough anymore.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So then people started smoking weed in public. You know, that's the rebellious thing to do in hip hop. I light up, I fire it up wherever I go. You see what I'm saying? Like, think about how rebellious it was to take a loud ass boombox into a store. You know, hip hop did that. That's rebellious in the mud.
I'm not that old.
You know what I'm saying? You know, it's always been something rebellious, but we keep upping the ante with the rebellion. And we went from just disturbing the neighbors with the music to, you know, now the level of rebellion is, you know, get a prescription for cough syrup with codeine in it and pour it in a Sprite. You know what I'm saying? That ain't what that's for. I don't give a shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm rebellious. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You keep upping the ante, and then, you know, it's okay to talk about anything now. And there goes the class. Because having class is, you know what? A classy person might just be the new rebellious because nobody has class anymore. So you come through doing classy stuff, cleaning everything up, you might just start people on some new rebellion. Look at that.
I'm going to go against what
everybody else is doing.
The stereotype.
Right.
Right.
And every now and then, you know, get some positivity out of rebellion.
Man.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Street credibility is definitely worth it to some of us.
Hey, I don't know, man.
And
it's a heavy price.
I'm speaking from the most dangerous profession in the world.
Yeah. Well, you know, like you said, the street credibility. Does J. Cole have street credibility?
No.
You don't think so?
No, he don't. He don't. And when I say J. Cole doesn't have street credibility, the streets is not demanding him
to have it either, because he don't. Right,
himself like
he doesn't need street credibility to do what he does.
Absolutely.
Amen. All right.
Yeah, and see, that's what I mean by, because it's only a small sector. In my opinion, it's only a small sector of just hearing the news and what's reported and stuff. You would think a large majority of our youth is into gangs.
Yeah, I was
they
just
not,
talking
man.
to my mom about I said, Ma, you know, you would think that kids are worse than they were 20 years ago or maybe 30 years ago. But I was around kids then and I'm around them now. They're a much gentler group as a whole. But I also told my mother the kids that are bad, though,
are terrible.
Are way worse
Terrible.
than anything you had to deal with 30 years ago. But the problem was, 30 years ago, everybody was trying to be bad, but their bad wasn't on the level of this bad.
Basically drugs.
Yeah, everybody wanted to sell drugs.
No, not just sell. They was consuming drugs, and they had these little sociopaths.
Oh, you talking about back in the day or now? Oh, you talking about back then?
They had, no, the kids that you're referencing right now.
Oh, right.
They are the product of a drug culture who presented these sociopaths. That's what I'm saying. Bruh, because some like, yo, these kids, wow, man.
Hey, they are, but at the same time, it's not as many of them,
right,
as it used to be. Because I was telling my mother, like, yo, you don't know, like, everybody was into something, right, back in the day.
And that was in the '60s, right?
Nah, I'm really talking about the late '80s through the '90s.
Yes,
everybody had their hand in something. It seemed like. But today, I don't see as like, you know. But those people, like I was telling, you know, I also told her, like, I heard gunfire all the time. Mm-hmm. Every time I went out, there was some shooting somewhere. Mm-hmm. But now, every time you hear gunshots, somebody's definitely dead.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? And that's kind of that's the difference. And back when I was coming through, everybody had a gun.
Right.
And they heard shooting all the time, but it wasn't a whole lot of people getting shot. But everybody had a gun, and everybody was doing something in the street. It seemed like, but
everybody now
these these kids aren't really in the streets like that on the level that everybody was when we were coming up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you catch anybody from our age group, they know a little something about something in these streets. You know, just by default. Just because of the era we came through. And today, any kid that knows about these streets, he knows way worse people than what we were dealing with back in the day, because these folks kill indiscriminately. They're way more thoughtless, which goes back to all this tragedy we've been seeing. These are the people that these rappers are encountering. It's the new generation of heartless criminal.
Sociopaths.
True sociopaths out here. They're being raised to not care about anything.
Nothing.
And I don't, that's not something that wasn't part of our generation. The sociopath was rare. You knew who he was, and he was headed straight to jail after he finally did kill somebody. But you knew who was going to kill somebody.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Now you got whole crews of dudes that could kill you at any given moment. Back in the day, it'd be one crew of dudes, everybody got guns, but it's really only one of them dudes you got to worry about shooting your head. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But now everybody everybody in the car shoot you.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying?
Shoot to kill.
Yeah. Back in the day, everybody had a gun, but there's only one guy with the balls that really you just don't make him mad. You slap on other dudes, they still won't shoot you. You know, but man, today, it's different. And you know, maybe a lot of cats didn't realize how much things have changed too, you know. You know, just in general, there's so many things you should be able to do that you just can't.
Right.
You should be able to go to Roscoe's and post. You should. Especially if PNB Rock, I don't remember, like, was PNB Rock particularly violent in his lyricism? I don't remember. I thought he was a singer more than anything. You know what I'm saying?
He was shining.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying.
That wasn't his first incident either.
These are things that you should be able to do. You know what I'm saying?
No,
he should be able to go to
no.
Roscoe's.
He shouldn't be able to go to Roscoe's with $100,000 around his neck, around the wolves. And I'm not saying that the wolves have a
And
right
like I said,
to
Roscoe's ain't up in Hollywood.
Thank you. I'm not saying it has the wolves have the right to do it, but if you come on, man, if you keep showing food to a hungry man, sooner or later he's gonna stick his hand out or grab it from you.
And but sadly, you should be able to do that, though. You should be able to. And that also speaks on a larger level to where society is, because society should have enough that one person, there's enough in America.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So you should be able, everybody should be able to do whatever they want to without somebody having to even feel the need, because this is the wealthiest country, one of the wealthiest countries in the world. And, why are people shooting each other over crumbs?
Right.
In America.
Right.
But that's a whole different story.
Right.
But you should be able to go anywhere, and you should be able to stay out till 3 a.m. gambling, because it shouldn't even be that big of a deal. Right. Money and access to things should not even be a problem in a society like this. But
capitalism, baby.
It's capitalism, and we don't, we're just not the type of place that's going to take care of anybody.
Right.
So all that would happen the moment, let's say we took all the money in America and spread it out so that people didn't have to rob and steal anymore. Do you know what people would do immediately? They would raise the price of everything so that all the money that you just got would be worthless overnight.
Right.
Like the moment that, like I say, it's a shame that all these people living in the projects don't have enough to eat. Mm-hmm. What I'm going to do is I'm going to buy everybody in the projects a car and give them enough money to eat every month. Within a grocery store with triple the price on everything. And tomorrow. The gas will be 10 times higher, because all these people that folks don't want to have anything have something. So they'll raise the price on them until they have nothing all over again.
Right. Ha-ha.
You know what I'm saying?
This was a dope one.
Yeah, we've been all over the place, man. But, back to the original thing, man. Rest in peace, Takeoff. And I'm sorry all that happened. Right. And I hope this, I hope that other people just move in a different manner. And I hope that all these sociopathic killers out here find Jesus. Find the heart. You know what I'm saying? I hope no more mothers have to bury their kids.
Right.
So, all of that
senseless
stuff.
gun violence by
Senseless
somebody who look like him or her.
That's stupid. We got plenty to worry about out here.
Right.
And
this is something added on.
Like Kool Moe Dee, since we brought him up earlier. I never ever ran from the Ku Klux Klan, and I shouldn't have to run from a black man, because that's self-destruction.
Huh.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that.
This is Capital City with Capital J.